Characters in After the Bomb are almost always animals that have been mutated into intelligent, human-like people. Each player gets to customize their character so they can be an animal that looks exactly like a normal member of the species, but with superintelligence and psionics, or an animal that has become a human-animal hybrid, a man-beast. A creature that has a basic humanoid shape, walks erect on two legs, has two arms and hands, etc., but retaining its strong animal features, instincts, and natural powers, retractable claws, trunk, tail, etc. There is also a third type of mutant animal, the rarest of the lot, but growing in numbers. Those so completely human-like that only a few small physical distinctions and animal abilities make them different from a human being. Back in 1985, when I wrote the first After the Bomb, it seemed kind of silly. Fun? Yeah. The idea of a post-apocalyptic world filled with human-like animals was definitely fun, just not even close to realistic. According to the science of the time, the idea of an animal mutating into something with human traits was ridiculous, insane, pure fantasy. It's only been 15 years, but science is catching up, and the fantasy of After the Bomb has taken on a chilling plausibility. For me, the wake-up call, the knock on the door, came in 1994 in the pages of the June 25th issue of my favorite weekly, the British magazine New Scientist. Here's the story. On the 5th of March 1994, a man by the name of George Smith, living in Oxfordshire, England, happened to notice a small advertisement. Between advertisements for pink lampshades and for an old clock, there was a public notice announcing that the British Department of the Environment had given permission for the spraying of a genetically modified insect virus. What was the virus? Well, the natural form, the unmodified form of the virus, is a disease that kills a particular kind of caterpillar, one that infects the cabbage plants. The caterpillar is the looper, or cabbage looper moth, or Trichoplusiani, or Trichoplusiani. That's a pest that can be expensive if you happen to be a farmer trying to make money by growing cabbages. The test virus, ACNPV, the one to be sprayed in George Smith's neighborhood, had been rather drastically modified, which brings up the second question. What was the genetic modification? It turns out that the virus had been equipped with an extra gene, a gene that would work like a weapon. ACNPV was the combination of the cabbage looper virus with a scorpion gene. In other words, this was a virus that had been armed with a scorpion's killer venom. Now, I don't know about you, boys and girls, but I thought that was a pretty scary story. First off, given the way anything living can spread Do we really want to take a chance on eradicating these caterpillars all over the world? And how does anyone know that AC and PV will only attack cabbage looper caterpillars? What if it could attack other caterpillars, other insects, other animals, us? Spraying a super virus out in the open seems a little stupid to me. Second, when did we stumble on the ability to patch venom genes into viruses? Historically, more soldiers have died from disease than from any enemy, and germ warfare isn't exactly a new idea. While I understand that the world's cabbage might need some protection, isn't this something we should be talking about? Back in 1986, we were just discovering that DNA was a molecular computer and that humans were, wow, pretty closely related to chimpanzees. Today I read in New Scientist that humans probably consist of around 350,000 genes, and we've already mapped most of them. Even more amazing, humans may differ from mice by as little as 300 genes. When I first wrote after the bomb, the idea of a mutant sentient dog was closer to fantasy than science fiction. Looking at it in 2001, it seems like we'll be talking to genetically modified canines in the not too distant future. Animals. Which takes me to a couple of comments on the animal section of this gamebook. Yes, I know that it is incomplete, but do you have any idea how many animals there are in the world? How many birds? We're talking about over 750 species in North America alone. So in this volume, I've pretty much concentrated on the creatures common to the eastern United States and Canada. And yes, that means I have not included most zoo animals, and yes, other source books do and will cover other animals. Do you have any arguments with the various animal descriptions and statistics? All I can say is welcome to the club. It's a rare day when any two expert sources agree on anything. Should players roll up or choose their animal? Whether players randomly roll their animal type, or whether they get to choose the animal they like, it's entirely up to the game master. Still, here are a few good reasons to go with random character creation. 1. Random rolls equal good role-playing. Excellent players can role-play anything. An excellent player can play any character and sees a weak character as a challenge, not a liability. 2. Random rolls equal something new and different. Even the best player falls into ruts. Random determinations may create something the gamer will love playing that he or she would never have tried if allowed to choose. Random rolls equal time saved. Another advantage of random character generation is the convenience that it provides to the game master. Instead of laborious constructing every new villain and NPC, the game master can just roll up the new encounters. This makes scenario design and quick response to player actions much easier. random rolls equal realism. Finally, let's not forget that random rolls reflect real life. It comes down to the old adage, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your parents. Even in the lives of fantasy characters, there may be no control over their origins. How to play a role-playing game. Role-playing games are really just an advanced form of regular board games. In fact, they're so advanced that they no longer use a board. Some of the elements are still the same. You still need paper, pencil, dice, and players, but the main thing you need to play a role-playing game is imagination. Let's take it a step at a time. Imagine the scene. Picture a sunny afternoon in the dense forest. A narrow pathway winds in between the huge tree trunks, the only bare earth not covered with low ground plants and ivy. Rich summer smells are heavy in the air. Insects are buzzing, and there are frequent sweet calls of songbirds. Can you picture this scene? Try to keep the mental image in your head. Don't worry if you forget the details. One of the great things about role-playing games is the way your memory is improved with practice. Now you are ready for the next step. Imagine the setting. Gradually, an electronic humming noise enters the scene, followed by the sound of slow, heavy footsteps. The songbirds are silent now, and a two-legged figure walks into view. His every step accompanied by the soft sound of an electric motor. He is a human wearing some kind of powered armor, and he continuously points the device mounted on his right arm. First right, then left, then back again, as if using it as some kind of scanner. Behind him are several disheveled figures, each part man, part animal, each bound with heavy silver tape, each hurt in some way. There is the sound of another set of power armor bringing up the rear. Obviously, the mutant animals are the prisoners of the humans, being escorted towards imprisonment, punishment, or even slavery. The next step is to find out how you fit into this scene. Role-playing, epic storytelling, and you are the middle of it all. You and your fellow players. What is needed to play? Other than imagination, you'll also need the following. Game Master. The Game Master, or GM, is the guy who functions like the writer and director of a movie. He or she sets the stage, creates the plot / conflict, and gives the players their cues and motivation for taking action. As noted earlier, the GM also plays all the non-player characters, or the NPCs. The bad guys. As the Game Master, this is also the individual who needs to understand the rules best. Players can actually get away with knowing very little of the game mechanics if they have a good GM to help them along and focus on the story. Players. It is fun to play with at least 2 other players, although more is even more fun. Beginning game masters can usually handle a group of up to 3 to 6. It is not usual for experienced game masters to play with groups of 7 to 12. Oh, it is not unusual for experienced game masters to play with groups of 7 to 12. It is also not uncommon for a game master to play with just 1 or 2 players. A recent survey done by Palladium Books showed the average player group was 3 to 6.